Hi guys, it's Mrs. Wifter. We are going to go through a series of podcasts looking at different types of resources that you'll use for your research project. Most of them are available from the library webpage. If you are in your cloud, the link to the library webpage is the first link in your applications toolbar. And so if you'll click on that and go to the Library Media Center page, we're going to use, first of all, a database called Opposing Viewpoints. And so if you scroll down the Library Media Center page, you'll see Opposing Viewpoints under Magazines, Journals, and Newspapers. And we do need the password, which is right here. We're just going to copy it, click on Opposing Viewpoints, paste that in there, and that will launch the database for us to use. While we're in Opposing Viewpoints, we're going to be doing a couple things. The most obvious is finding information for your topic. The second thing we're going to be doing is looking at the types of sources that you're accessing. For every article or newscast that you find, you're going to have to tell some things about it in your annotated bibliography. So you're going to want to be keeping some notes in your research log about the types of sources that you're using. And we'll talk about those as we go through. So this is Opposing Viewpoints in Context. And from this page, you'll find information of all types. There are newspapers, magazines, academic journals, video, audio, websites, statistics, reference books, all sorts of different things. And it's attractive and it's set up well, but the thing that I like best about it is that they've done a really good job of going through the resources and selecting things that are high quality so that you know that you can use them for an academic purpose. So when they have website links, for example, they've weeded all out most of the junky stuff so that you have good websites left over. If they've got magazine articles, they've weeded out most of the irrelevant things so that you have good magazine articles to look at. So there are different ways to search the site. The first thing you can do is just scroll through and look at this first page, and there's information organized here for you. And there's actually a few people who might find that their topic is available from this site. There's somebody in one of the classes that's doing something on the local food movement. And so that person might just want to click on this link and go directly to the page on local food movement and find out more information. Remember that you're using a database like Opposing Viewpoints to find the basic information. So that first research question that you wrote about why it's important. Why should we care about water quality? Why should we care about drug use? Why should we care about the connection between physical activity and health? So those basic informations to get your audience hooked is the type of information you'll find here. And then you might find some statistics and things like that that will be helpful. In addition to just looking at the web page, you can do a search. So you could do one basic search term here, or you could do an advanced search, and I'll come back and show you that in a little bit. Or you can go to the issues page, and you can look at a whole long list of topics. So if you click on the issues tab, you're going to find dozens of topics listed here. Many of you will find your topics listed. I'm going to use juvenile drug abuse because there are a couple people in your class that are using this topic. So I'm going to click on juvenile drug abuse, and it's going to take me to a page that has the resources related to this topic all organized. The first thing that it provides is an overview. So I can read this to get an idea of the kind of information that's here. This would be an optional thing to look at, but if you click on View More, you'll be able to see the whole overview. The other thing I want you to notice is it tells you the kinds of resources that are available. News are usually newspapers, magazine articles, academic journals, reference books, statistics, websites. Video and audio are typically going to be from news sources that you'll be familiar with. The one thing I do want you to know is the difference between a magazine and an academic journal. With a magazine, these are going to be magazines that are written for popular audiences, or general audiences. For example, magazines that are written for teenagers, or for Republicans, or for parents, or for fishermen. So they're a subgroup, but it's not a really specific group. Typically, magazines are written to provide information and to entertain. They're usually full of pictures and they're usually full of ads. So visually, that's how you would be able to sort them out. The vocabulary is pretty easy. They're things that you would pick up at a bookstore or at the grocery store. Academic journals are very different. Their audience is very specific. For example, There are certain academic journals that are written for scientists, but not just any scientists. They're written for like an astrophysicist or a neurologist. There are academic journals for historians and for lawyers, all different types of academic journals. And the intention of an academic journal is to further the information in a field for the purpose of building knowledge and for educating, like continued professional development for a professional. So for example, if you went to see a neurologist, you would hope that that person had been reading professional journals throughout their career to keep up with the latest techniques, the latest drugs, that kind of thing. If you were a history student working on their PhD, you would be not only reading academic journals, but you'd be doing original research and writing for academic journals. The information in them is often hard to understand, but it's solid research, original research. There are also reference books, which are usually going to be short articles that give the basic background in history, often written by experts, but always edited and revised heavily. And then the statistics and websites, I'll show you those in a minute. So as you look over this page, there's the featured viewpoints. These are articles that are just going to show you both sides of the issue. They're often excerpts actually from books that have been pulled that are relevant, and they're usually pretty good. There's news and magazines. There are academic journals and reference books, and then there are statistics and websites. And you can see that there's not a ton of them. There's 47 sites that will give you statistics. And if you just went out onto the web and did a search, you'd probably come up with thousands. One of the nice things that you can do here is you can say, you know what, I really want to see what the academic journals have to say about my topic. I want to find out the research behind maybe the prevalence of drug use within a teen population, or research that shows whether or not certain programs actually work at preventing drug use. So you can click on View All 46, and you'll come to the list of the 46 academic journal articles. 46 is not that many. You can scroll through the titles pretty easily to figure out if they're things that you want to read. A couple things I want you to look at is the title of the article. This is the journal that it's published in, so you know you're in academic journals, and then there's the beginning of a little summary. Also on this side, it tells you what you have here. So this particular article is a letter to the editor. Now this is Implications for Culturally Appropriate Targeted Drug Prevention. This might actually be an article that the person wants to read. Even though it's dealing with rural Irish youth, there might be some applications from this article that are important. But when you use this article, you want to make sure that you put in your research log that this is a letter to the editor. So even though it's published in a professional journal, it's not professional research, okay? And so that would be an important thing to make a note of in your research log. The other thing you'll notice is that in this column it says article, 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 but when you come over and you look at the information about the articles, title, journal, it says abstract here. And if it says abstract, that means that you cannot actually get to the full text of the article. This is just a summary. It's a teaser at the beginning of an academic journal article. It might have some really good information in it, but it will not be the journal article in its entirety. We will look at some other databases that allow us to get to full text articles, but many of the articles from academic journals and opposing viewpoints are just abstracts. Just be aware of that. We're going to go back and look at one more thing in opposing viewpoints before you get started actually searching on your own. When I'm at the juvenile drug use page, it's just going to take a second to flip back, I have all these results, and I can refine my results so that it is more focused. So if I scroll down just a tiny bit, I get to search within this page. And for example, if I want to just do prevention programs, I can add prevention to this bar and hit the spyglass, and it's going to take me to articles that only have that all have prevention mentioned in them, or a focus of prevention. And actually, when I did this, I found some really good articles in terms of drug prevention programs, intelligently run ad campaigns. This was a really good article. Drug abuse increase. So these are going to be articles that I'm definitely going to want to take a look at. If I go into an article and I find that by by scanning it that I do want to use it, there are some things that I'm going to do. First of all, I scan it, I'm going to take notes on it. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and I'm going to get the citation. So it says source citation, it gives the correct MLA format, and I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste this into my research log before I start taking notes. Now these are kind of interesting, these viewpoints, because they're sections of larger books. So for example, there is a section from the book Teen Drug Abuse in here, and there's a section from the Independent Record, which is a newspaper. And so this is kind of merging two documents together. So the citations tend to be complicated. You definitely just want to cut and paste those and use those. But you're going to want to talk about the fact that this source has information from two original sources, one being a book and one being a newspaper article. So it makes the annotation information a little bit more complicated, but the information available in the article is really good. The other thing you're going to want to do for sure is email this to yourself. Because you're going back and you're doing an annotation, if you have all these articles in your email, if you have to freshen up on anything, you'll be able to get to it really easily. So copy and paste the citation into your research log and email the article to you. Take any notes about what kind of source it is, and then get started taking notes about the article itself. Last thing I want to show you, advanced search option. Pretty straightforward, but there are two things that I'm definitely going to need to do when I use the advanced search. I am always going to change this tab over to keyword, and I'm going to put in full text documents here so that I don't get any abstracts, I only get full text articles. And then I will put in my search terms, and I'm going to use a wildcard search here. I'm going to do teen with an asterisk, and that is going to get teen, teens, teenager, and I'll search, and I'm going to get articles specifically related to methamphetamine and teens, teenager, whatever the case may be. And I'll get to my list of articles. I will do the same thing. I'll scan through them. I'll take the citation, copy and paste it. I'll email it to myself, and I will start taking notes. And that's it. You guys are on your own, and come see me in the library if you need any extra help.